The China's People Liberation Army received 200 J-20s, and the US military quickly withdrew the aircraft carrier and cancelled the F-35 deployment plan to Okinawa. On December 19, the US Business Insider website reported a news saying that the production of China's J-20 fighter jets continues to increase, and China has solved the engine problem of this model. Therefore, the number of J-20 fighters commissioned by the People's Liberation Army continues to increase. According to the most conservative estimate of the US military, the People's Liberation Army has already commissioned 200 J-20s this year, which puts the US military under great pressure. Therefore, the US military decided to cancel the plan to deploy two fifth-generation aircraft, F-35 and F-22, to the Kadena base in Okinawa to avoid being one-stop by the People's Liberation Army. In addition, the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier operating in the South China Sea has also left. In fact, since 6 years ago, due to the rapid advancement of the People's Liberation Army's missile technology and the rapid improvement of long-range precision strike capabilities, the US military has become nervous and believes that nowhere in its military bases in the Asia-Pacific is safe. Therefore, the US military launched Agile Combat Deployment, or ACE, whose main content is to change the large-scale fleet deployment model from large bases to distributed deployment on more and smaller islands. As the People's Liberation Army's sea and airstrike capabilities continue to increase, the denial and denial strategic system continues to improve, and the US military's ACE concept is also upgraded. Bombers and heavy fighters have been transferred to Guam and other places in the second island chain for deployment. Bases in the first island chain implement rotational deployment. However, it is still surprising that the US military directly cancelled the plan to deploy fifth-generation aircraft to the Okinawa base. You know, Kadena base can be said to be the most important military stronghold of the US military in the Asia-Pacific, after more than 60 years of painstaking management by the United States. The total area of the Kadena base has reached approximately 20 square kilometers, accounting for a quarter of the entire Okinawa. At this base, the US military has deployed the 4th and 356th Fighter Squadrons, all equipped with F-35 fighters, with a total of at least 40 aircraft. Now, the US military will only deploy F-15E X fighters at the Kadena base, and the number is not large. So why did the US Air Force abandon its rotational deployment plan and prepare to withdraw all F-35 fighters from Okinawa? Some people believe that there are two main reasons. First of all, as one of the best fighters in the US military and even the world, the F-35 stealth fighter has recently received negative news in a row, and its performance has even been questioned by the US military itself. On December 16, a US military F-35B had a ricochet accident during a vertical landing. The nose of the aircraft was directly stuck on the ground, forcing the pilot to eject to escape. What makes the US military even more embarrassed is that the F-35 involved in the accident was a new fighter plane that had not yet officially entered service, and it crashed. On December 18, after an F-35A fighter of the 35th Fighter Wing of the US Air Force landed at Kadena Air Base in Japan, the wing's maintenance staff discovered that the external port of the aircraft's electronic equipment was missing. Some US Air Force personnel said that the missing parts of the fighter jet were likely to fall into the Pacific Ocean. Judging from the situation of the F-35, the fighter aircraft has three models, F-35A, F-35B and F-35C, which are in service with the US Air Force, Navy and Marine Corps, with a total of 450 aircraft. However, the F-35 continues to have problems, which reflects that although the fighter jet has invested a lot of money in maintenance and upkeep, it still has many problems that seriously affect its combat effectiveness. In this regard, the US Government Accountability Office, or GAO, conducted an investigation and found that the problem with the US military's F-35 fighter jets is greater than expected. About 45% of the F-35s are not capable of performing missions, and the remaining 55% below also only have average combat capabilities. The US government's investigation report revealed a grim fact: 55% of the 450 F-35 fighter jets can only perform one mission, and the rest cannot perform even one mission. GAO also pointed out that these warplanes with serious problems have cost the US military $1.7 trillion United States dollars, of which $1.3 trillion United States dollars has been spent on maintenance. The situation of the F-35 is so bad that it is obviously a matter of time before the first-line bases are withdrawn. Secondly, the PLA's comprehensive strength has improved faster than the US military expected. With more than 200 J-20s in service, coupled with various tactical ballistic missiles and cruise missiles, as well as the H-6 bomber fleet and J-16 aircraft fleet, the People's Liberation Army's air combat and strike capabilities are very impressive. And it can completely defeat the US military. The advanced fighter jets in Okinawa are one pot at a time. In fact, neither the F-35 nor the F-22 can gain the upper hand when facing the J-20. In March last year, US Pacific Air Force Commander Kenneth Wilsbach said that the F-35 and the J-20 encountered each other head-on in the air at least once. At that time, the F-35 did not detect the J-20 fighter jet in advance. What makes the US military even more nervous is that China's Kongjing 500 early warning aircraft is also at the scene, which means that the F-35 has nowhere to hide. In September of this year, Wilsbach said that the People's Liberation Army was intercepting US military aircraft with increasing frequency, once intercepting 10 times a day. Since it is unable to gain the upper hand in air combat and is worried about being overwhelmed by the People's Liberation Army's long-range firepower, the US military's advanced fighter aircraft can only leave Okinawa, leaving some fourth-generation aircraft to proper appearance. However, in addition to the large number of J-20 fighters entering the fleet, the US military has more news that makes them nervous. On December 19, the US Power website published an article stating that China had begun testing and deploying Attack 11 drones on aircraft carrier-like facilities. The Dynamics website believes that the Attack 11 drone will join China's aircraft carrier fleet in the future, which is a capability that the US Navy does not have. The Attack 11 UAV is a large UAV with a flying wing layout and a built-in bomb bay, with a load capacity of 2 tons. If this drone can be deployed on an aircraft carrier, it will not only increase the combat radius, but also greatly improve the latter's battlefield awareness. In addition, as a high-altitude long-endurance UAV, the Attack 11 UAV can reach places closer to the opponent's position, transmit real-time data to the aircraft carrier formation, and guide long-range fire strikes. If it is an ordinary military aircraft, it must be covered by a warship or carrier-based aircraft to conduct close reconnaissance. All in all, facing the People's Liberation Army, which continues to grow in strength, the US military has no good options. If it really wants to protect itself, the US military has only one choice, and that is to completely withdraw from the Asia-Pacific region.